Let's move on to our third round rules. Everything gets double from the second round. A great take gives you 800 points. A good take gives you 400 points. An okay take gives you 200. And a bad take, you come home empty-handed with 0 points. So March Madness, the brackets are being filled as we sit here today. The UConn Huskies, back-to-back national champions, the number 1 overall seed in all of college basketball, followed by Houston, Purdue, and the Tar Heels of North Carolina. Should be a fun tournament, no question about it. A lot of upset predictions already are coming around the board. So I will ask you first on this segment, Mike Guido, who is your Final Four and who wins the national championship?
Well, they're not back-to-back yet. They could go back-to-back if they win it this year.
Yes. My bad, yeah.
Right now, and you're going to like this, Bryson, because and just trust me, you're going to you're not going to like it towards the end, but you are going to like it in the beginning. UConn definitely in. I do think a team to look out for in UConn's bracket is Drake. I do think that Drake has a very interesting roster. Tucker DeVries is one of the best scorers in the country. They just took down Indiana State for their conference title. I think that could be a really interesting matchup if you're looking for a later seed to kind of catapult up towards the Elite Eight Final Four. So UConn, North Carolina. I love Kentucky this year. I think Kentucky is very, very, very good. And Tennessee, I think, is a clear favorite to win their bracket. I don't really have much faith in Purdue. Here's the thing. As far as where UConn stands, right? Tristan Newton has just been absolutely phenomenal. He's the school leader in triple doubles. Donovan Clingan is one of the best defensive players in the country. When it comes to Kentucky, this is why I really love them, right? I have UConn and Kentucky in the national championship and then UConn eventually winning it. But I do think that Kentucky, they can go on runs. They're such a special offensive team. I think they may have the best backcourt in the entire, in all of college basketball with Rob Dillingham and Reed Shepherd. They really shoot the lights out of the building. UNC is kind of like that veteran team with Armando Bacot. They may have been the biggest beneficiaries of the transfer portal with Harrison Ingram and Cormac Ryan from Notre Dame. So it's going to be a very interesting tournament. But yeah, I like UConn over Kentucky in the national championship. I like I said, I love Tennessee. I think Dalton Knecht might be, the best player in the country to take over games and everything like that. He's really special, but I think UConn is just simply, they're just too good. I think that they're more than likely going to repeat.
Yeah, I actually agree with you. I do think UConn's going to win it all this year. I think when you consider, I do think my Vols did get a pretty favorable draw given where we were in the bracket. I do not buy Purdue in the slightest. I don't really buy Zach Edey that much, to be completely honest with you. As a long-term guy. But yeah, listen, my concern for Tennessee, I think you're actually higher in my Vols than I am, ironically. My concern for Tennessee is this is not one of the great Rick Barnes defensive teams of old. Dalton Knecht is, listen, trust me, I've seen the kid. Yeah. He is a scoring extraordinaire. The problem is they can't. I struggle to see if they can get stops down the stretch of games. We'll see if that's able to, if they're able to overcome that or turn it up defensively as time goes on. So a good take for Mike Guido, give him to 900 points here. Yeah, I think I'm kind of with you on Kentucky. I think, listen, Calipari has had some tournament woes in the last half decade or so, but if people forget, this is the first time Kentucky's been fully healthy all season long, and they're playing their best basketball at the right time. So listen, oftentimes it isn't necessarily about where you're seating, it's about how you're playing. I think Kentucky's a prime example of that.
Yeah, I don't want to interrupt you too much, Bryson, but Kentucky, if you do not want to fall behind against Kentucky, because they can run away with a game if you fall behind on them. So they can beat good teams in this country by 20.
Completely agree. 100%. Yeah, and I don't really look into much in into their Texas A&M loss in the SEC tournament. I don't put too much stock in that. There was a lot of upsets in this past weekend, so we just kind of disregard them all. To you now, Tim Barnard, who is your Final Four in March Madness, and who comes away with the national title?
So I am in full transparency. Did I even say that right? Transparency. My God, I can't even talk today. I don't follow a lot of college basketball. I pretty much follow my teams, which are the UVM Catamounts, which are practically always in the tournament every single year, except they always get bounced in the first round. But also my only Florida Gators. They went on a run for the SEC championship, and if it wasn't for their guy breaking their leg, one of their big men breaking their leg, they could have had a chance against Auburn. And so my thing is, I got UConn because reigning national champs. Follow them a little bit, not a lot, but then I am going to go with my Gators for the upset of the bracket in the Final Four. That's right. But Bryson, don't get too mad at me because we're going to be squaring off in the Final Four. Tennessee, Florida, because I'm with you. Purdue is always overhyped every single time they're in the tournament. They're always good for big men every single year, but they always blow it every single year. So I got, Florida, UConn, Tennessee, and then in the other bracket, I'm going to play it safe. Going to take North Carolina. I think really if we're going to talk about the national championship game, I think that's what it's going to be right there is going to be UConn, North Carolina. Not in terms, they're going to be playing each other in the Final Four. Yeah. But, and then in the national championship, I'm sorry. I got to go Gators, baby. Come on. I know exactly what's about to happen, but I don't care, baby. I don't care. Go Gators.
Yeah. Okay. Take for Tim. That was you were actually doing pretty well, Tim. Florida in the national championship game, Tim. Florida in the national championship game.
Their run, their run in the SEC to the SEC championship was pretty damn impressive.
It was very impressive. But you just mentioned they just lost one of their best players to a broken leg.
I know. I don't care.
Okay. See,
free Tim.
I'm glad the audience is getting to get a perfect representation of Tim's bias towards Florida, and even Mike's higher than on Tennessee than I am. Okay, I just want to let everybody know that. And this is I cannot wait for Florida to get bounced in round one. They
won't. They'll win round one. They'll win round one. They will.
We'll see. I may.
I will say, just to expand on this conversation, just because I love March Madness, and I'm sure there are a lot of people who also. One team that I am very, very, very worried about in the NCAA tournament is the Houston Cougars. Houston, with Juwan Roberts suffering the injury, right? Mm-hmm. This is a team that got blown out in the Big 12 championship game. They got Iowa State blew them out, right? Coming off a loss, they're a very good basketball team, and especially defensively. But if they lose their anchor in the middle of that defense, that's really going to be a problem for them. Really,
no question. I'll say, and this may not sound like a sleeper, but relative to how successful they are, watch out for Kansas. I'm just saying. I know they're 4C. I get that, but watch out for Kansas in the tournament as well.
Kevin McCormick is missing the tournament. Kevin McCormick is out for the tournament.
Okay. Well, there you go. That's major. By the way, women's bracket, Caitlin Clark's winning at All Iowa.